Hey friends, this video is sponsored by Epic Water Filters. Be sure to check them out at epicwaterfilters.com and use Epic One Life for a discount on your order. With One Life safely docked at the marina, it was time for us to step away from the salty ocean water we are used to and dive deep into the Colombian rainforest with just a backpack and our water bottles.
Today, we're going on possibly the most awesome land adventure we've ever been on.
Hopefully. I'm a little nervous about it.
We're gonna be gone from One Life for 4 days in the wilderness with a backpack.
We left the comforts of our floating home behind and headed to the tour company, where we met up with our guides and the rest of the group that would be joining us for our adventure. And so our journey begins, starting with a 2-hour ride in this 4-wheel drive vehicle. We ventured out of the busy streets of Santa Marta and on to the dirt roads of the Sierra Nevada mountains. Eventually, the roads end, leaving us no choice but to walk the rest of the way to our destination. All right, I guess the road stops here. So now we begin. Here we are in the village of Mamo, where we enjoyed a local lunch and listened to a quick briefing from our guide Cesar and translator Davi. Ciudad Perdida is nestled deep into the Sierra Nevada mountains and wasn't rediscovered until the early 1970s. The archaeological ruins were formerly home to the indigenous Tairona people nearly 1,000 years ago. To get there, we would need to climb over and around mountains, cross rivers, and rest at camps along the way. Visiting the Lost City can only be achieved by foot, which means hiking over 28 miles and climbing to an elevation of 3,700 feet. Our journey is beginning.
We just had a nice lunch and now we walk for about 4 hours today.
Oh boy. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. We'll be at Ciudad Perdida in 3 days.
I'm already sweating. Well, the terrain is changing. I'm out of breath. And look at this.
I don't know how it's lost if there's signs to it. Pretty tough terrain.
It's poor donkeys.
I thought it wasn't supposed to be as hot up here. It's really hot. We're still hiking. It's only day one.
It's only half day one.
We're halfway through day one. It's been raining on and off for a couple hours now, which I think is just how it goes.
It's quite nice. And the terrain is more dry than I thought it would be. I thought it would be more rainforest, but I have a feeling over the next couple days we'll start to see that.
Yeah, we've got a ways to go up into the mountains still. We just came to a soccer field on the top of this mountain. How cool is that?
Well, it looks like they planted all of these trees to act as a fence, as well as that little net that we just saw. Wow, it's quite the field. It's raining. After only 4 hours of hiking, we were anxious to get to our first night's camp. The terrain here is steep, and even the downhill slopes of these mountains are quite challenging, especially in the rain. I think that might be our camp, but I don't know. Looks like a nice camp. Much nicer than I was expecting, that's for sure. And it is starting to clear up after the rain. And it is absolutely gorgeous here. Wow. Okay, that's not our camp. We have to keep going.
I think our camp might be the one down there.
Ah.
But I'm not sure.
Maybe that one. Just kidding, still not our camp. Just a pit stop to catch our breath and refill our water before continuing on. How was that?
That's the coolest bridge I've ever walked across, I think.
Gary and I are pretty used to one-day hikes, but knowing we have 3 more days of this is a whole different ballgame. Just when we thought we were close to calling it a day, we were faced with this raging river. Normally, this river is easily passable, but with an afternoon of rain, it created a bit of a roadblock. Our guide went first, checking the water depth and current before giving us the okay to follow him through. Holy shit! You can feel the water rushing, it's crazy. I've never done anything like that before. It was kind of fun once you realized that you weren't going to get swept away. But we had to cross it because our food and our camp is on this side. When sailing, we are constantly having to step outside our comfort zone and overcome unknown challenges. And this 4-day hike was turning out to be no different. We made it to our camp. This is actually our camp. Soaking wet, we were quite relieved to make it to our first camp. And after a quick look around, it was time to relax for the evening.
So we've arrived at the camp for the first night, and it's really cool. It's just kind of a wood frame building with a roof, and the floor is mud, and there's a whole bunch of bunks with mosquito nets. So we get a cot for the night with a mosquito net, and we're gonna have dinner here in a bit. I just had a nice cold shower from the river water, and it feels good to be dry and cleaned up. It's pretty nice here. It's pretty cool. It's still raining, of course, which makes it kind of peaceful. You just hear water.
The tour company provided a chef who would hike ahead of us each day and prepare delicious meals for us at the camps. After dinner, our guide shared his experiences of living in this area and the challenges he and others overcame in an area once known for cocaine and drug cartel. Morning, just woke up, had a good night's rest, and I'm in my little mosquito net tent with Gary.
Let's go walk.
It's like 5 a.m. It's still dark out.
Everything's soaked.
And everything is soaked because it's still raining. But here's a picture of my little bed. But it's time to go have breakfast and then get on our way. Yep, Mom.
We've got fresh fruit, eggs, and arepas. Yeah. We awoke to a panorama of stunning green mountains with patches of fog nestled in the valleys. We felt refreshed by our natural surroundings, and we were ready to tackle another day of hiking.
How do your shoes feel? I can hear the water.
And we're off on day 2 of walking. I think we've got about 6 to 8 hours of walking today. It's really nice right now. It's 6 in the morning, so it's not raining and it's not hot yet. But I don't expect this to last too long. We took off on the path and stopped frequently to take in the surreal views from the mountainsides.
The views here are absolutely ridiculous, and I hope this footage captures just even a little bit of how beautiful it is here. So along the way, we're passing a lot of mules today, and the mules are what brings our supplies to the camp. So shout out to the mules. We just got to our first water break.
After a few hours, we stopped for water and some fruit to replenish our energy. Some tropical birds kept us company, and we even sighted and got to photograph a hummingbird. But then it was back to the grind. I'm gonna put our outdoor filter on my water bottle, and I'm gonna refill my water bottle from this river. So we just passed our last camp that is owned by the farmers. So this is kind of the point where everything beyond this is owned by the indigenous people. And all of the food and supplies that get brought in from here forward are carried by mules that belong to the indigenous people. Everything from here back towards the town of Mamo is carried by the farmers.
Great.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty interesting place.
In a few more hours along the trail, we came to a village of the indigenous Wiwa Tribe. The Wiwas are farmers and live in traditional huts as their ancestors have for thousands of years. Our guide and translator explained to us a bit of their culture, traditions, and social structure. It was amazing to see and hear of how the Wewa live in harmony with the nature around them, deep in the mountain jungle. How many streams have we walked through?
I lost count a lot. Another river.
The hike continued, and we eventually reached camp number 2, where we would stop for lunch. It was actually sunny, so we took the chance to hang out some of our clothes to dry.
How was your second day so far?
Day 2's been really nice. We're at our lunch camp for now. We're gonna be here for a couple hours, have something to eat, and then we continue on to camp 3 for the night.
Which is up there?
I don't know, somewhere that way.
But we were able to take a quick dip in the river here, and the current was super strong, so we couldn't get that far out.
And it's cold.
It's really cold.
It was nice, it was refreshing. The second camp is nestled along a riverbed, just upstream from the Wiwa village. The unspoiled nature around these camps is absolutely breathtaking. All right, we are leaving camp 2 and continuing to walk. We've got 4 hours to camp 3, where we'll be sleeping tonight. Seems like we cross a river or a waterfall like every 100 steps. It's absolutely amazing in here. We're walking along next to a really big river, and you can probably hear it because the water is just rushing. It's all white water. It's really cool. I'm actually kind of glad that we're here in rainy season because the rivers are way more powerful and it's really cool. You tired of walking yet?
I'm a little bit tired of walking. Super humid.
The conditions this deep in the jungle are no joke. Steep trails with loose footing and nearly 100% humidity to go along with the Colombian heat. We took quick breaks as we needed to and rehydrated while watching the clouds roll past. But we had miles to cover to reach the third camp for the night, so we kept moving. At the highest elevation for the day, we stopped at a shelter for some fruit and another water break. These rest stops were so needed. Hiking steep mountains for 8 hours a day is a true test of endurance. This particular shelter even had a fully plumbed toilet.
So I'm glad that we have our water bottles so that the mule over here doesn't have to carry our trash down from our plastic ones. I'm good.
Resting felt great, but we had miles to cover still to reach the third camp. So we pressed on along some of the most epic sections of the trail yet. If we weren't climbing steep rock banks with loose footing, then we were scurrying down a muddy ditch, just trying our best not to wipe out.
Hola.
Hola, hola. The Wiwa people are semi-nomadic and have camps and houses scattered throughout these mountains, where they farm and tend to their livestock. We were feeling incredibly grateful that they are willing to share this gem of a wilderness paradise with us. The trail continued along a major river, and a sign told us we were getting close to our camp for the night. Where this larger river needed to be crossed, a cable bridge was there to make it possible.
It's a little wobbly, but it's beautiful.
As we continued along the riverbed, waterfalls cascaded down the banks to join the river. Smaller bridges and railings guided us along the treacherous but stunning terrain.
We see our home for the night. Woohoo!
Check out our camp for night number 2.
Yesterday when we made it to camp, it was dark and rainy, so we couldn't really show you guys much, but I'm going to give you a little tour. So we just took our shoes off, and first is I'm going to shower.
Just like the last, this camp had bathrooms and showers supplied by the frigid river water. We rinsed off the mud and sweat and chose our bunks for the night. It was a lot of walking. We walked for about 8 hours today. We went over bridges, across rivers, by waterfalls. We went through an Indigenous community, which was super cool to see.
Yeah, it's been difficult, but we've done a lot of hikes, and I would rate this one the most difficult one that we've done by far.
Yep. So we've got our camp here tonight. We're about to have dinner and get some sleep because we've got a lot more walking tomorrow.
We have to wake up at 5 again tomorrow, so all right, adios until tomorrow.
Yep. We'll see you from the lost city. Dinner and hot drinks never tasted so good. Our chef for the trek made sure we ate well. High-end restaurant quality meals in the middle of the rainforest. What a treat. We spent a couple hours after dinner playing card games before calling it a night.
And we are off to the Lost City. It is day 3. I am tired. My clothes are wet, my shoes are wet, and I hope it's gonna be worth it.
So we've just set off from Camp 3, and we've got about a 50-minute walk up to Ciudad Perdida, the Lost City. Pretty exciting. We've been walking for days to get here, so the anticipation is pretty high.
Of course, our final tracks to the Lost City would not be easy ones.
Only about 1,100 more. There are 1,200 stone steps leading up to the Lost City.
I've done 50.
I don't think we're even halfway yet. They are steep and wet.
As we continued to push ourselves up the stairs, we had no idea what was in store for us. We just hoped the journey would be worth it.
We walked for 3 days to get here. What do you think?
I don't know yet. When we finally got to the top, my feelings were a bit scattered, and I needed a moment to collect my thoughts. There was a wave of silence as we marveled at the stone sites, imagining where homes, worship areas, and people once stood. It's absolutely fascinating what people were able to achieve using only their natural environment.
So we're here finally at the Lost City, and it is much bigger than we thought it was going to be. It's really cool. It's all built from stones by hand over 1,000 years ago. It's really incredible to see what people were able to do back then. I mean, just look at this. It's enormous. And it's way up in this mountain. The views are ridiculous. There's a waterfall crashing down to the side. It's really cool. It's definitely the coolest archaeological site that I've been to. It's amazing.
The thing that is cool for me to see is we got to see descendants of the Indigenous tribe that actually built this city.
Yeah, so the 4 tribes that live now in the mountains, in the Sierra Nevada mountains here in Colombia, all descend from the Tairona people who built this lost city.
Yeah, it's really cool that there's still descendants of them around, and they still practice the same beliefs as they did
over
1,000 years ago. As we wandered around the grounds, Mamo, the leader of the Wiwa Tribe, happened to be on site meditating. He greeted us and told us about his relationship with Mother Earth and encouraged us to share the same connection.
Para dejar el pensamiento negativo acá. Y la Sagrado invitó para recoger energía positivo bueno.
That you are welcome here, and not only to like see the mountains or see the people, but also to like leave your bad thoughts here, your bad energies here, and refill with the good energies of the place. And always be in contact with Seran Juan Seneca, which is the sun and Mother Earth.
Before leaving, Mamo presented us with handmade bracelets, along with his blessing, making us one with the sun, water, moon, and stars. This moment was completely unexpected and will forever be the highlight of this journey.
I think this means we've officially reached the halfway point of our hike. Because now we have to walk all the way back to where we started. Ooh. It will be mostly downhill, but I'm not sure that's easier.
Goodbye, Lost City! Thanks for having us. Can't believe we walked 3 days to get here. No roads here, nothing. That's crazy. Exhausted both physically and mentally after 3 full days of hiking, we pressed on, reflecting on our experience. After several hours, we arrived at camp for the night, where we had stopped for lunch the day before.
We made it to camp. I'm so happy I'm hugging it. Day 4.
Lost his voice and can't talk, but it's day 4, and we walk out of here today. Woohoo!
After a pre-sunrise breakfast, we were gathering our things, and when I went to pick up my backpack, I fortunately noticed this. Es peligroso no.
Oh, I was gonna get your shoe! My little buddy.
This would be our final day of hiking, and while our legs were completely worn out, the spectacular scenery around every corner kept us going. As we retraced our steps back along the trail, we were lucky enough to spot a toucan for the first time. The Sierra Nevada has an exceptional diversity of birds and is home to over 200 different species. As we continued down the trail, we passed many of the Wiwa women and children out to gather plants and crops. We once again walked past their village before arriving at our first shelter and rest.
This is the mood right now. Day 4.
Feeling pretty depleted, one of the other tour group guides wanted to make us a natural remedy.
Natural medicine. Garlic and lime and salt.
It's no good flavor, but it's
It helped. Very good for you.
yeah.
Oh no.
Whether we were feeling better or just distracted by the bad taste, we were ready to press on. We came across 3 young Wiwa girls on the path, and they were quite friendly. We played catch with a calabash for a while as we walked, and we shared many laughs.
I think we're gonna make it.
It's all downhill from here.
Well, we made it. We made it. Back to town. Wow, what an adventure.
As we returned to the town of El Mame, the rain was relentless. We were supposed to have lunch in town before the ride back to Santa Marta, but the driver said we must hurry and take our lunch to go. As we made our way down the road, we quickly learned why he was in such a hurry. This little stream we had driven across a few days ago was now a whitewater river. The driver felt confident we could make it, so we blasted across. But that wasn't the only river.
Y las motos que iban bajando para el lado, ¿no?
So we're stopped here because we can't cross the river.
Waiting to cross the river.
We ate our lunches in the truck and watched in awe as the local men took turns carrying each other's motorbikes across the raging water. We've been waiting here for 45 minutes maybe. They've been carrying the motorcycles back and forth across the river to get them across. And the water level might be starting to recede a little bit. So I think we'll probably have our turn in the car soon.
Turn. Wasn't expecting this.
It's pretty wild. We're literally stuck between two rivers right now because the other one we went through is probably not passable now either.
And it looks like it's gonna rain again soon.
Yeah, pretty wild. Stuck in the jungle between rivers. As the rain let up, the driver said it was our turn to go. This was seriously sketchy, and we all had visions of being washed down the river, packed in the back of the truck. A little bit of sliding and wheel spinning at the end, but we made it. Back in the city of Santa Marta, the streets looked just like the rivers in the rainforest. Our driver brought us back to the marina, and our journey was finally complete.
Well, I'd say that was quite the adventure. And I'm gonna leave you guys right here while we go shower and go to bed. I cannot wait to get back to One Life. The following morning, we invited our newly made trekking friends to One Life for coffee and to share photos and reminisce about our previous 4 days. We were so excited to share this experience with everyone, and we hoped you enjoyed the journey through our eyes. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for watching.